can just focus on my main words.
Hey, it's Wombs with a View. I've got all my favourite wombs with me tonight. We've got Gemma Aitchison from Yes Matters and Ophelia Volunteer. We've got Cara Dansky, feminist and author. And
Okay, I'm ready.
And we have Rex Landy from Mana Wahine Carrero. Have I said that right, Rex?
Right.
I think I have said that right. So we're going to start with Cara. Cara, you've got a book out. Customers are in. Tell us about it.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. So the book was out a week ago yesterday. It's called The Abolition of Sex: How the Transgender Agenda Harms Women and Girls. And I'm really excited about it. And you know, I'm hoping women all over and men all over the world will read it. And sort of the main goal is to empower and embolden American liberals to stand up and on behalf of women and girls. And I'll just tell you, I have American liberals contacting me all the time, and they're looking at women in the UK and they're saying, wow, feminists are just killing it in the UK. Why don't we have anything like that here? Mm-hmm. And so I'm hoping this book in some ways will help us move the feminist movement to protect women and girls along in that way.
And the book is called, and Sophie's got it up there, it's called The Abolition of Sex and How the Transgender Agenda Harms Women and Girls. Can I ask you, Cara, how different is it from Abigail Shrier's book? Because I've read that, and it's brilliant. That does focus on teenage girls.
Yeah, that focuses on teenage girls. And so this book, it basically goes through an introduction explaining an overview of the topic. And then it has a chapter exploring what is a woman. And then chapter 2 talks about the erasure of sex in the US law in all branches of government. The next chapter talks about the practical implications of erasing sex and goes into detail about sports and prisons and shelters. And it quotes examples from all over the world. We talk about Laurel Hubbard, of course. And it talks about implications of erasing sex generally. I mean, it focuses on women and girls, of course, but it talks about, like, are we really going to start skewing crime statistics to erase the reality of male violence against women? Why would we do that? So it talks about the implications, and then it talks about silencing. So it talks about how women are silenced all over the world when we try to speak up about this. It talks about the silencing on media and social media. It talks about the use of the law to silence women, like Marion Miller, and it talks about pronoun mandates. And then it ends with sort of a call to action and a description of what we can be doing all over the world to protect the sex-based rights of women and girls. So it's really quite different from Abigail Shrier's book. Although I will say, I've messaged with her quite a bit, and she seems to be very enthusiastic about the book. So I'm really happy. I'm really happy about how enthusiastic she's been about it.
We need you on Joe Rogan, Cara. He's had Megan on. He's had Abigail. We need the Holy Trinity, don't we?
I would do it in a second.
Yeah, no, you should. Oh, that would be amazing. I'd be so excited for you. When Megan was on, I was, oh my God, Megan's on. It's brilliant. But so I messaged Gemma earlier, and Gemma said, it's very different here. We had one government to raise this debate with. You have 51 states, so it's going to be, it's like you have to do it 51 times.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, it's just massive. And, we've just got to keep going. We've got to keep doing everything we can do at the federal level and at the state level. And, I really do think that most Americans have absolutely no idea what's going on. They just don't get it. And so I'm really hoping that my book can be educational in that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've ordered it. It was nice and easy to order. Amazon UK. Yeah, and Hanka, she's got a copy. How far are you into it, Hanka?
I have not started it yet. I'm
You haven't
sorry.
started.
No, not gonna lie. I have it, but I just could not get into the mood because you have to have a certain mood for certain books, right? So I ended up carrying it with me every day, but I just like didn't have that vibe yet. But when I will finish it probably in one sitting. That's what I tend to do. So, but I'm just waiting for that perfect moment. So
It's pretty fast. You know, it's a pretty short read. And that was by intention. The publisher, when the publisher reached out to me, he said, we want to do a really short book. We want it to be very digestible and accessible. It's not very academic. It does get a little technical when I talk about the law. But if you can get through that, the other chapters are they're very easily digestible and easily understandable by just about everybody.
I think for me personally, I treat this type of books more of a source I can quote at this point. I don't think personally I will learn anything groundbreaking to it, but I'm sure it's going to be groundbreaking for people who are just new to the topic, of course. But for me, I treat it as like something I'll definitely quote, something I'll definitely be like, go read that, and more of a.
Oh, you've muted. You've muted, Hanka.
Oh, sorry. At what point did I mute myself? I'm not sure. The whole point.
Just
That's
just-
awkward.
Only for like a few seconds.
No, I was just saying I don't know that that I'm gonna treat this book more as a resource than something groundbreaking in any sense, because I feel like the knowledge there, it's already known to me, but I will definitely refer to it for people to go and read, and just something I can easily quote to and refer to. So I'm happy for more resources that are this base for the debate.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, those of us who have been fighting this fight for a while will not be surprised by anything in it. Some of the examples might be new. Like there's this guy who is housed in a Washington state prison whose name is something like Princess Desdemona Julie Marie or something like that. I'm not getting it right, but it's some just absolutely outrageous name that this guy goes by. And he's a convicted rapist. He was convicted of raping a 12-year-old girl, and they're housing him in a women's prison. So some things like that, I think it's good to expose this kind of thing.
I was going to say to Hanka, it might be useful if you're just out and about people that you don't want to talk to just pretend you're reading the book. I have some books. Like,
oh no, I'm thinking about
like
something. So there is, so when I'm gonna like low-key dox myself, but I think that person's not gonna watch this place. But there's this woman I'm going to work with every day on the bus, and she's like very query, and she uses they them pronouns towards me because we talk sometimes. So I actually plan on just like maybe get that book in the morning and just be like, hey.
Do it.
That would be funny. She's really nice, and I think she's lesbian or bisexual, at least because she has a girlfriend. I saw her girlfriend's photos. Yeah, she showed me. But yeah, that would be funny. I do plan to do that one day. I did have the sex method badges on my thing. I don't think she like realized. But I also have my pronouns are rohypnol, and I have this one as well, the TEV thingy. Maybe I'll put it on one day. But that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
That is a great idea.
Well, I only read one bad review, Cara, on the Amazon. There was one. The rest all said this is really valuable. This is, well worth it. Well worth the read. So really good reviews. On Goodreads as well. Just mostly really good reviews. I only saw one. So somebody out there didn't like you. You also
I didn't even read it.
Yeah, no, God, no. No, well, I've ordered it. I'm waiting for it to come in, so I'm not as bad as Hanka. I'm waiting for it. It's my Christmas present to me, that is.
What do you mean? I'm reading so many books, Cinzia. Don't start me on that. Do you want to talk about all the 4 books I read in the last week? Okay, so don't start me.
Judging. We're all judging you now. Too late.
I'm never going to let you live it down. Sorry. So you wrote a piece, Cara, for Uncommon Ground, and it was praising us UK feminists for, you know, raising the debate to like the national level. And it's true. Mums are talking about it on the school run. You know, we're talking about trans and gender, which wasn't the case 3 years ago. So it's working. Or I was just asking my group, is the praise justified? And it is lovely to be praised, and all of us have been part of this. It really is nice feeling. It's a lovely feeling, isn't it, Gemma? No, it's so lovely. But is the praise justified? Are there things that we've missed that we're not working on, like Black people of colour, women of colour? You know, have we, lesbians, LGB? One thing the mums are not talking about is this is hitting lesbian and gay kids. So they know about the trans, they know it's gender, we know we're talking about it, and they are, but they're not tying it to lesbian and gay. So maybe we're not working hard enough on that. Anyone got anything to say? Sophie, Hanka, I keep calling you Sophie. Sorry, tell me off.
I mean, I do have quite a lot to say about that, but I think
Go
I
on
shared...
then. You do it. You tell us.
No, I did share a lot of thoughts about that in terms of notes, but so I have this thing. Of course, there's a lot of group of women that need support from women from UK and US, but on the other hand, as well, I understand that there are issues specific to your places and your countries, and it's understandable that you focus on that. Of course, I'm very sad and upset that women in the UK or US.
Oh, she's going. Oh, Sophie, you went there. You just glitched. She just glitched. Rex,
Okay.
Have you got anything to add? Or Gemma? Can you hear me?
I'll just see if Rex wants to answer first.
Yeah.
If internet allows.
I know. I think she's been really quiet. I wonder if we've lost her again. No. Yeah, I think we've lost Rex. She's gone very quiet. Maybe
she's muted. Does she know how to unmute herself?
I'm muted, right. Sorry, I'm going to ask Chloe to unmute. Unmute Rex.
Chloe, unite Rex.
Yes. Oh, yes, brilliant.
Hello. Atamari here. And tēnā koutou katoa. Atamari here to everybody. I find the umbrella of our gender ideology stuff, we all have the things that are common to us. We resist against men being women and girls being sterilised and radical double mastectomy, but country by country we've got our own challenges. You know, your 51 states, Cara, you know, you have to have 51 different arguments at different level because, you know, your federal laws and state laws are different. We have the challenges of lockdown. Lots of things being presented to us in lockdown in New Zealand. Our 3 bills were all done in lockdown. Our duplicitous LIBOR government said, and Cindy Hardon, that fucking smiling woman with her listening face, our Prime Minister, she has told us that she is the single source of truth. And when we went to submit on these bills, email submissions allowed. You had to use the New Zealand Parliament website and their form. So if you aren't internet savvy, we used to be able to have just email submissions to the government, but now they said, no, here's some more hoops to jump through. And they allowed overseas submitters and then denigrated and shit all over them every time they came in to say something. They'd just shit on them. Stella O'Malley, I don't know if you saw her. It was a masterful submission. And they were just like, oh, well, how does this apply to toilets? Why do you need a birth certificate for your toilets? And all this sort of straw man bullshit. I have no filter. And I'm not at home to this delusion. And I will call it out. I'm lucky, as I say, on my little form there I'm a professional nobody. You can't take anything from me, There is nothing that they can't. And I'm lucky I can stand up and say this, but there's so many strands to it. People losing their jobs for truth speak, And New Zealand, I've likened us, we are the tail on a very stupid dog. The trans rights bullshit, it's a very stupid fucking dog, and we are the last one. We are the tail at the end going, oh, pick me, yeah, we're down with this. 90% of people in New Zealand know reality, and that Laurel Hubbard is a big overfed man. We all know it. But because this pressure is coming from on high, out of the universities, Dentons, and our own Quisling Māori people handing our rights over. Special mention to Elizabeth Kurikuri. Her name's Kiri, but I call her Kurikuri because it's an insult, because she does not speak in my name. And Louisa Wall, she's already called me a fucking TERF. This is a minister. These are our government ministers. And she has felt emboldened enough to sit at a pride festival and go, we don't need any fucking TERFs there. So this is what we're up against. We're up against Quislings and snatch pastries and snollygosters all at the top, pushing this shit in. Even though we've told them there are 3 women currently pregnant in New Zealand prisons because they've let the stunning and the brave in because, they identify. But, chime on in, anyone. It's bloody dire. And we've just been kicked in the teeth because the BDMRR, births, deaths and marriages recommendations came back, and they're just going to push it through and allow men to identify as women and women to identify as men. And they're going to, for me, I can't see how they can't see it's a lovely thing for child traffickers. So I don't know if any of that's all gone through and you've heard any of it because everybody's on lag.
Heard it all, Rex.
And we have. I'm really glad, actually, Rex, that you brought up a lot of the parallels between.
Oh my word!
Stuff that's happening with the transgender ideology and the lockdowns.
Can anyone hear that? I'm like, oh.
And I'm really glad that you brought up about the fact they've been forcing through laws during lockdown, because similar things have been happening in the UK.
You're all the spinning wheel right now. I can see Tanya is just having a vape. But everyone's at the spinning wheel right now. I don't know.
We can hear you. Can you hear us, Rex? Oh, I don't know if Rex can hear us.
Hello.
What? We can hear you, Rex.
Hello, Rex.
Hello. Oh, hello. Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Everyone's gone into. There's a big spinning wheel on most people. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, we
like I say, every time I talk to someone overseas, there seems to be a technical or a glitch. It's something it's like the trans gods are watching me and they are displeased.
Doesn't like what you're saying.
Gender Jesus is cross with you. Oh, I'm a shocker, eh? I am so profane and unrepentant. Fuck you and your God. Just keep that shit in your church. And you see, because I don't say nice things and speak nicely and call them fried chickenisha and
she's lost her. Out in a blaze of glory. She'll be back.
She'll come back.
I thought what she was saying.
Women.
Yeah.
She speaks to normal women. I've heard worse in the park.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a bit of a shocker. I suppose that's why the select committee were a bit cross with us, because they're all not talking to us.
I was saying, I don't know.
It's like we're in a blackout. Press won't talk to us, media won't talk to us uppity darkies, you know, us cheeky darky women from Manawahine Kōrero. Because the narrative has been it's only Pākehā women, it's only Euro women, it's only Karens. Yeah, pardon me, but you know what I mean? Because then I can call you Karen and ha ha ha, you know. Mm. But it's not. We've known what biology is for thousands of years, you know, like your culture, Hunka, my culture, anyone's culture, we know. Like I said on Linehan, we know what a woman is when it's raping time and ass wiping time and somebody to clean that toilet. We know what a woman is. So I find this disingenuous, these disingenuous politicians, you know, can't hear anyone over the giant hush of money.
Corrupt politicians.
And it's, oh, guys, it's bad here. We've just had on our this morning's breakfast show and last night's lightweight news.
Oh, she's gone again. Oh, we'll just let her know.
She muted herself.
So, Cara, she has muted herself. Cara, what she was saying about the men in prison, we've got that here. And so, again, that praise for us is really lovely. But women in prison, they're still suffering in the UK. They're still being in prison with men and having to shower with them. And so it's lovely. And I don't want to, dampen that. So, but women in prison aren't reading that, and they're not feeling like, isn't this great? So I just think, there's still a lot of work to do in the UK, and obviously in America even more. Well, I'm so sorry we've lost Rex. Sorry, Cara.
Can I ask a question? Okay, so how is that being accomplished, right? So here in the States, our Washington State Department of Corrections made its own decision that it was just going to house men in women's prisons. But it's not a state law. In California, it is a state law that says that the Department of Corrections have to house men in women's prisons if they identify as women. And just yesterday, it was announced that the Women's Liberation Front is suing the state in federal court. So that's a really, really good thing. But do your prison administrators just make whatever decisions they want about who gets to be in which estate?
Gemma might know a little bit more than me about that. Since she does all the qualifications. Do you know?
No pressure or anything there. Just
I'm sorry.
Just chuck me under this double decker. Yeah, I'm fine. So it isn't so much like it's not like in America, so where you have like state to state sort of stuff. There is the discretion of each governor going on. But to be honest, with us here, I'm not sure how much you know about our delightful government, but they have the ideology of rolling back the state. So that means that they've cut loads of things, including to the prison service. So they're really struggling. So if they think that they can get like some bloke out of causing trouble with a load of other blokes and chuck him in a woman's prison, and they think, that might be an easier job for them. I think there is an element of that going on, but I think actually we need to take a leaf from you guys in all the women that are affected by that, including the female staff who are told they're like masturbated at and stuff. They all need to start suing them. And all these girls in changing rooms and women in changing rooms, again, who are also getting it. Because what this is about primarily is money. That's what this is about. It's pharmaceutical companies. It's the cosmetic surgery industry. I'm a youth worker, so I'm like bothered about young people. And I found it really odd, the whole conversion therapy stuff going on at the moment when we know that if these young people who have gender dysphoria diagnosis, if they don't take puberty blockers, like 80% of them, once they go through puberty, end up being gay or lesbian. So putting them on puberty blockers, in my opinion, it is conversion therapy. And there are some families out there who would rather have a trans child than a gay child. So I don't understand how that connection's not being made either. So yeah, it's about money, and I think we need to start suing everyone, to be honest.
Yeah. Tanya's suggesting that people can buy the book and send it to women in prison.
If you know, like, the female, like, if you know a female prisoner, which I'm sure, if any of us wanted to link up with Amy from Woman to Woman, and there's another woman, forget her name, but in America, that, because you would need like the prisoner's name and their ID number, but you can't send books straight from like your house anymore or anything like that because of drug smuggling. But you can send books, like you can go order a book from Amazon or Barnes and Noble and have it sent directly to the prison, to the prisoner that you want it to be sent to. And I think that there would be a lot of women that would really be interested in reading her book, as there's a lot of women that generally learn a lot about the law while they're in prison, you know, spending time in the prison library. I think that a lot of women in there would be really interested, and would be able to, I don't know, get something really good out of it. So
that's a really good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. And just if anybody wants to go find, there's a video on YouTube. It's 6 minutes long, so it's not long. It just came out yesterday. It's on the Women's Liberation Front's YouTube channel. And it's just a 6-minute video that is just devastating, where this woman talks about her sister who's incarcerated in California. And the woman is incarcerated because she had an abusive husband, and something happened and they were fighting and arguing over a gun, and it went off and he died, which is awful. But she is serving 50 years for this. 50. She is in prison. She has already served 10 years, and she's got a teenage daughter. And you listen to audio of this woman talking from within the prison, and she's talking about how they put a man in her cell and they took bets to see how long she would last. And it's just horrific. You hear her voice. Like, I guess what I'm saying, because I'm going to have to jump off, but I guess what I'm saying is, we all know that it's really bad to house convicted murderers and rapists in women's prisons. That's really, really bad. And we all take a stand against it, which is good. But listening to this woman's voice is just devastating. It is just heartbreaking. So before I have to jump off, I just want to encourage everyone to listen to that. It's only 6 minutes. And I guess I just feel like so many of us feel helpless and powerless in this fight, and I understand why. But if we can't do anything else, at a minimum, we can bear witness to this woman's pain. We can bear witness to this woman's suffering. And I feel like we all, you know, we all owe her at least to listen to her voice. And so that's my plea.
Oh, thank you so much, Cara. So your book, just again, it's called The Abolition of Sex, How the Transgender Agenda Harms Women and Girls. I got that right this time. I'm slipping up. Brilliant. And I can't wait to read it. So good luck, Cara. And
thank you so much. And yeah, it's on Amazon, both in the US and the UK. Other people have told me they found it at various other online booksellers. I don't know how they're finding it, but that's great to know. So thank you so much for having me on. I'm sorry I have to jump off.
No problem. Thank you, Cara.
Bye, Cara.
See you soon. Oh, so Gemma, I messaged you about a lovely piece, and you just had some really good points.
Shake the room. Found another browser. Sorry about that, team.
No problem. Carry on where you left off. I was just like, Where's she gone?
Yeah.
Please carry on where you
God,
left
there's
off.
so much. Oh, it's thank you. It's pretty dire here because we.
Oh my God.
Rex, you're frozen again. It really is Bill Gates or some the transgender silencing you.
The computer says no moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. What a shame. So I was messaging you just saying it's lovely. What a lovely piece she wrote about us. But porn, right? So we're talking about with the mums on the school run, and they know about trans, but there's no national debate about porn, and that breaks my heart a little bit, actually. And that's what I think is like, if there are other things that we could be focusing on, and that's definitely one of them, to bring that to a national debate, that would be great.
Yeah, you never message me just to say hi, dear. Never just say, hi, Gemma. How you doing? You having a nice day?
I think, oh, she's all right. I've seen her online. She's all right.
No, but yeah, like pornography is a huge thing, but it is kind of connected to this because it's those gender stereotypes that we're seeing. It is the dominant control and the sexual object, and it's those same things being reinforced. Which is why it's really worrying that so many schools are going against the compulsory PSHE curriculum, which says you're supposed to highlight gender stereotypes are harmful. And the other thing about pornography as well, it's sitting in our justice system. It's sitting in police uniforms. It's sitting in judges' boxes. It's sitting on our juries as well. Because if you like 30 years ago, if you said to a police officer, I was crying, I'm covered in bruises, he strangled me, versus if you say that to like the CPS now, the guy can say, oh, well, I was just copying pornography, I thought she consented. So it's moving, something that, and although I accept that that all rape isn't always violent, but no, it's just making it even harder for us, and the whole rough sex defence thing. And I think, frankly, what it is, it's child grooming. That's what it is. Pornography is child grooming because, our teenage boys are watching it and they're thinking, this is what I'm supposed to find sexy. And we talked a little bit, didn't we, about how during the Black Lives Matter movement, I feel like there was a real missed opportunity with this because pornography is so racist. It really is. And so I feel like that could have also, it was such a missed opportunity to highlight how racist pornography is as well. And that could have been a way into highlighting the national debate. And I guess maybe we can try and look at those like opportunities in the future, maybe. I don't know.
Absolutely. Well, I'm in a feminist group, just local, and they're all asking, or saying, should we not just talk about trans? And I totally understand where they are coming from, and because you just get fed up of it. And I want to be able to focus on other issues, that are just as important, but that are linked as well. Like you said, they are linked to the gender stereotypes. But it's just somebody said it, on our group. Oh, let's not talk about trans this week. And I thought, no, I totally agree. And how are we going to do that? We exactly the same way. We've had all of these groups explode all over Britain, and I've got to say, my little local group, it's not all about trans. We do put other things in there, but that would be great, is to get that to the national debate, get it on the school gate. That talk of porn. Rex, you're back again.
Yes, I know. This is so fraught. Like I say, every time I talk to someone overseas, it's like, no, you're too far away. 12,000 kilometers is too far for the internet.
It's working perfect now.
It's perfect.
Oh, hooray. But yeah, it's a real onslaught, like you were saying, Gemma. I think of it as a tentacled beast, you know, a squid with like 5,000 different strands. And you got to find the right lever for the audience. You know, I mean, I speak, I just go, blah, you know, and it struck a nerve with some people because we're sick and tired of tiptoeing around the mentally ill. You know, we are sick and tired of it. But we also need to have breaks because we're in a bit of a lull at the moment, mana wahine kōrero, after just being kicked in the teeth after the births, deaths and marriages falsify my birth certificate. The thing that gets me is they can't see that child traffickers are going to love it. What child? That's not that child. That's this child. There never was a child, you know. And we've had everybody come out, you know, like 70% it was disseminated. Speak Up for Women had someone look at and make a graph of the amount of people who submitted. And like I say, that we weren't allowed email submissions. They have tried to make it like an eye of a needle for you to do anything. And it's the first time I've ever submitted to Parliament. I've never submitted. And so my submission, it just, everything came out because I could just put all those, I managed to get a lot of information out there, even though they didn't want to hear it. Deb Russell shaking her head as if all the names of the rapists and pedophiles are going to fall out. At the end, at 4 minutes, she's like, oh, you know, fuck. Because she knows that, you know,
Rex, you managed to condense this like whole 10-year debate, because I know women that have been doing this on Twitter for 10 years. You managed to condense it in 4 minutes, like everything. You got every point in there, as well as some swearing words. And I was like, I love this woman. This woman's amazing. You were perfect. Do not apologise for swearing.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's like I didn't swear to the select committee, but Deb Russell went home on that night to her Twitter and whinged to everybody at how hard it was. And she said, oh, do fuck off. See, Deborah Russell, MP. And on the back of this T-shirt, it says, say it to my face, Rex Landy Turf. Have the courage of your convictions, lady. Come and front me. Come and tell me to fuck off. I'd have so much respect for her if she had and said, I feel like telling you to fuck off.
Oh, you know? I love you so much. I know we've only been on this for a short time, but yeah, you're fantastic.
You know, I've got no sugar for anybody in this, you know, and like you say, we've been up against we've been up against the coalface for a long time, and you are sterilising children. They're not even my children, and I'm annoyed. You know, and if you're not angry, you're a fucking part of the problem. And I'm not angry all the time or whatever, but you know what? You are part of the problem. Get out of my way, lady. I'm steamrolling my way to Parliament. They've put out an order on us of not to talk to us. I believe we're being blacklisted and shunned because, you know, we're those inconvenient women that aren't Karens, if you excuse me, you know, like, because I can just dismiss all you Pākehā ladies or white women because, you know, you're the middle class, la, la, la. It's not. This is everybody, everywhere in the world, because 90% of us are awake. We know what a woman is. We've always known what a woman is. And it's not a panty-sniffing pervert in a dress who wants to fucking hollow us out and wear us, you know, because that's what they want to do. No matter how nice they are, like Debbie Hayter. What a fucking prick he is. Look at his wife. He is a prick. He is a woman-hating prick. Yes, you heard it here. Debbie Hayton, you're a fucking
run away,
man.
Rex. I want her to run away. I'm just going to say it. I want Debbie Hayton, Debbie Manton's wife, to run away. Come to us. I'm just going to say
Nobody stays for the children. I'll drop it here for you. I was a trans widow 17 years ago. I left a long time before this shit was even fucking on the radar. Nobody stays for the children. All you fucking hand wringers and pearl clutchers and, oh, you poor woman, get the fuck out. He's an abuser.
The wife is the poor woman. The wife is the poor woman. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? She stays. Get out. Get the fuck out. Nobody stays for the children. That's a terribly unpopular opinion. But I've done that walk, and you know what? In the dark, dark night at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm lying in my bed, I am inviolate. I have my integrity, and my son is not being abused. I've lived in abject fucking poverty ever since I ran away. I took my baby and fled 12,000 fucking miles from him, right? Nobody stays for the children. They stay so that they can have their own unhealthy messages that they've been given in their past. They stay to keep them confirmed. And only a lot of therapy is going to undo that. You know, only a lot of therapy. I had to go and sit in the chair. I've done enough work in the chair to know that it wasn't my fault, and that the old messages that I was given as a child and as I lived through my life, I kept confirming those negative messages by staying with him, you know?
And these politicians, they fail to realise they're talking to, you know, regular women, working class women on the ground that have been traumatised. You've been traumatised, and then they sneer at you.
Yeah.
Oh, don't! I'm tearing up, Rex. It's horrible. It's so horrible.
Sorry, girl, but you know what? That's not my shame to carry. I got my son out, and I taught him, you know, better one happy parent than two miserable ones. Yeah, you can sit there doing your fucking dance and telling me how you're staying for the children. You're a fucking martyr. And you know what? If you stay, you volunteer. You're not a victim anymore. You're a volunteer.
Okay, and I don't know if Gemma would agree with that, but...
Yep, harsh. I know that's harsh, but you know what? I've walked it. And until you undo those childhood messages that tell you that you are not worthy, that you deserve this, you know, until you get to the very heart of it, mate, you are stuck in an abusive relationship with a narcissist who will want to secretly hollow you out and wear you as a skin.
Absolutely. I hear you, Rex.
I hear you. No, and I have no quarter, you know, Jane Claire Jones, I've already had a spurg at her. You were wrong. You should shut your mouth and move on. You know? Shut your mouth.
Anything about this. I'm just
Jane Claire Jones and Julia Long with the language, and she talks about ontology. Jane Claire Jones is busy inviting us to have a game of fucking Scrabble while women are being raped in prisons.
Yeah.
Shove those.
Now I know what you're on to. Now I know what you mean. And I agree. This is how we
and I love Jane Claire Jones. She's wonderful work she's done. But you know what? When I fuck up, I go, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I misspoke. Or whatever. I don't like it because I'm a wordsmith and I'm fucking pretty clever. But you know what? If I make a mistake, I have to put my hand up because that makes me better. You know, that makes me better. And there's nothing wrong. It's only the thought of humble pie. It's not the taste of it. You think it's going to taste like shit, but you know what?
Rex, it's what makes you great.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just better. You're bloody great. No, you are. You're absolutely great.
You know,
you've got a YouTube channel. You've got a YouTube channel.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your group and your YouTube channel?
Yeah, sure. We are Manawahine Kōrero, and before Deb Russell told me she wanted to tell me to fuck off, we had about 100 subscribers, and now we've got 1,500, thanks to Deb. But we are women. We have one of my sisters is in Australia, Michelle Riro, and you've seen her in the submissions. She did a wonderful smackdown of Deb, and you know we all are united. We have allies as well and men in our group, but we are Indigenous women speaking truth to power, saying there's nothing about this in our whakapapa, in our history. There's nothing. There is no ancestor of mine who ran into the forest looking for hormones after chopping his dick off. Because guess what? He wouldn't be my ancestor. He wouldn't be my ancestor because he'd be a dickless wonder. You know? So they're gaslighting us and putting this shit on top of our culture, telling me that it is. Now, my grandfather can never become my grandmother. He can pop a dress on and go spinny, but he's still an old man. And I fail to see what a 15-year-old girl questioning her adolescence and puberty and hating the breasts and the unexpected hair and the, you know, all of this has in common with a panty sniffer who's 55 and has got a soft dick from too much porn. I fail to see the connection. You know, it's grooming, as Gemma said before. Porn is grooming. I've heard it say it's filmed rape. Porn is filmed rape. Prostitution.
Absolutely.
paid rape. You know, prostitution is paid rape. You know, these are the ways that we've been denigrated. Back to that squid with all the tentacles. We are under assault, and all they're saying is, and you know what? Nobody really believes Laurel Hubbard's a woman. Nobody, not a fucking one. But we've all agreed to play pretend. You know, not us, but the world has agreed to play pretend because people are homeless. They're fucking going to lose their jobs because of some vaccine, some imaginary mandate. And, you know, it's been very difficult to get things out with lockdown and, you know, and half the population are now lepers.
Yeah.
Right. Going off in Australia. You know, you've got to have the booster because, you know, this is the 17th shot and you'll be cured. Seems legit. You know, just have one more fucking booster.
Yeah, just 12 more.
Yeah, just 12 more. It's called the clot shot. The people administering it, some of them are calling it the clot shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I call it.
Keep that shit to yourselves.
I've read that.
Yeah, keep that shit to yourselves.
What does clot shot mean? Sorry. Clot shot?
Children with having heart attacks and people are dying of blood clots.
Myocarditis.
Oh, clot shot. Yeah, okay, sorry, I misheard. Sorry,
that Kiwi accent. But yeah, the clot shot. So here we are. As I say, we're in a bit of a lull because we feel a bit disheartened and things, and it's to write to MPs now. But we're going to reformulate our strategy because we're only a new group. There's, you know, only a handful of us. But you know what? Even a broken watch is right twice a day, and even a broken mirror is bright, is what I think of as, you know, and we're going to shine. Never mind, shine the light of truth on this, you know, because nobody really believes it, but they've agreed to go along because you're going to lose your job, you're going to be ostracised from your friends. Oh, I just tell people you're missing 9/10 of fuck all. If you lose someone who goes, men are really women, you're missing 9/10 of fuck all. You know, really and truly, because where will they be when the whip comes down? They won't be there. Who's going to visit me in prison? It's not going to be those libtard pricks in Wellington calling me a fucking whore, you know. It's not going to be that fucking Wellington barrister, Steph Durberg, I'll say it, she's on Twitter having called me a whore for saying only women get pregnant. And then she got the Wellington twatterati to, you know, double down and get rid of my account. I've had over a dozen of them because I just keep going on there and going, you will never be a woman. I told Charlotte Clymer, I says, hey, bro, you're so famous. It's called the Clymer effect with your big man skull and your dainty turf stranglers. I had to delete that tweet to get back on. But, you know, you and your dainty turf stranglers. Fuck, mate. I'll never call him a woman. I will never grace any man, not even if I like them. Like I spoke with Karen from You're Kidding Right. I have one I have one transsexual friend, known him for a very long time. He's still a man. My advocacy doesn't go, but let him in. He's really nice. Like Debbie Hayton, fuck off. Go and piss in the men's. And if you're worried about it being some rapey Thunderdome where you're going to get attacked, then maybe you should talk to the fucking men about it. You know, this is a men's problem being written and paid out with our lives. We've got women in prison here. There's a couple that are pregnant now because of this policy. And like you asked earlier, nobody wants to touch us. We've tried all year to get a meeting with our Minister of Women. She just won't speak to us, so we went and protested outside her office on International Women's Day. We've talked about it. We've got a couple of strategies that I can't really say at the moment. They're not illegal. It's just, you know, things that we need to be getting on with in terms of increasing our visibility. With regards to engaging with them. Well, you're not going to engage with us. Well, we're going to give you a press release. You don't have to. Our media are captured. Just last night on our 7 o'clock show, there was a mentally ill young woman saying how she'd been groomed on the internet. And she said it. She went, I was feeling awful. It was all around my chest. So she didn't like her breasts. Well, you show me a 12-year-old that's getting breasts that likes it, and I'll show you one that's probably been abused. But you know what I mean? I remember puberty. It was awful. Where is this fucking hair coming from? What is this? And you say this is going to happen every 28 days. 28 days, and then these bumps are coming. Of course we don't like it. Puberty sucks. It sucked for me, it sucked for you. But it's not
to be honest, I think a lot of it is actually how men are treating it. All this shit actually, I think you're so right there, Rex, this is about men. The reason that we need sex segregated spaces is because of men. That problem hasn't gone away because of men. The reason that teenage girls don't like being teenage girls, a lot of it is because of sexual harassment, sexual assault. So it's, frankly, all these men telling us, oh, you need to be kind, you need to let them in these spaces, you need to this. No, it's men who kill trans people, it's men who kill women, it's men who kill men, it's men who rape, it's men who are paedophiles. So you sort out your own glass house, mate, before you start telling us how we should be managing ours, because you're the problem.
Well, it looks like you've had a little bit too much to think, Gemma. You've had a bit too much to think. We all know it's a men's problem, that's the thing. And when we try to say it, because it doesn't affect men and it doesn't affect, middle class and upper class women, they're never going to go to jail. I will. I can see it in my future, because I will not say that Laurel Hubbard is a woman. He's not. He's a fucking overfed man. He's built like a fridge. Fuck. State of him. And, they want to put me in jail for saying men are not women, or, fried chickenisha, or you're a linebacker in linen. You get stiff and set. And I'm mocking. Oh, terrible mockery. I am a strong mocker and always have been. But they want to put me in jail for that. Whereas Shane Winter fucking burnt and tortured a little girl, and now he'll be in the cell with me. Happy days.
What is it that's saying? Women mock men and men kill us. Isn't that the saying?
That's right. That's Margaret Atwood before she went off the deep end. They're worried that we're going to laugh at them, and we're worried they're going to kill us. And until we can get the people at the top, see, like Paul Hunt, fucking Quisling, he's a bastard. He's our Human Rights Commissioner. He's the Chief Human Rights Commissioner. I've already told him I think he's a bit of a bastard, so I'm not saying anything behind his back. But we had a meeting with him. We had a meeting with him with another women's group, WLA, I think, and we went in and he was so supercilious and patronising, and he helped usher the Yogyakarta in, and he's going, no, the Yogyakarta are just principles. I says, yeah, I know, they're an academic's wet dream, they're not even law. And he was, ooh. And then he was trying to, but what if a 15-year-old there, Petra, what if a 15-year-old is questioning, and what would you say? And I cut her off, and I just says, it doesn't matter what she thinks. What matters is that you are not upholding our sex-based rights. What matters is you are not letting us hold our gender-critical views and disseminate them. We've had billboards taken down because somewhere a man in a dress is going to fucking cry. Let him cry. Fuck hard enough, bro. You really need to go and see someone for that mental illness.
Rex, Naomi, do you want to say it? Sorry, no. She wants to say something.
No, it's all good. It's just...
I was just going to ask you, Rex. So, because you've been quite, and you've drawn a couple of comparisons in this chat as well, and you've mentioned a few times your opposition to the lockdowns and to a lot of the policies, a lot of the insane policies surrounding the COVID. Have you found, how has it been with women in the movement, women who were on your side on one issue? Are they, do they have symptoms or?
No, I'm a fucking leper now. I'm a leper. Now, if I start our conversation, any vaccine conversation, if I start it with, I have one kidney. I was born with one kidney. I cannot afford to take any vaccine. Not one. Because if I do suffer kidney failure, I've only got one. If I had two, it might be a different thing. But if I start a conversation with, I've got one kidney, everyone's, oh, that's so understandable. Go see your doctor. If I say I have questions about the creeping fascism and the single source of truth that Cindy Hardon is sitting there fucking smiling about, that whey-faced fucking maggot. She's a maggot. I can't stand her. She is ushering in fascism with her grinning fucking listening face. Oh, Cindy Hardon. Oh, look at me. We are the single source of truth. Oh, there's going to be 2 classes of citizens. Yes, there is, she says. There's going to be 2 tiers. And
I
all
was
these
shocked when I
Democrats-
saw that, and I was really
Yeah.
shocked when she said single source of truth.
Same.
And
Yeah.
isn't that exactly the same sort of thing we've been fighting with? We're being told to follow the science, Rex, by people who cannot tell us what a woman is.
That's right. You're telling me that boys have periods, and you want me to take a syringe full of your experimental shit from Pfizer, who have had the largest payout in history.
Correct.
Litigation history. Lipitor, their fucking product, causes diabetes. And you want me to take a syringe full of shit that they have said, trust me. How about you get a big black dog up you? Because that's not going to happen. But
Yeah,
all
we-
these PC women are like, but Rex, you're a fucking idiot. I've never been called stupid more times in my life than the pandemic. And it's quite apparent that I'm not stupid. I'm partially clever, you know, that lovely private education I got. Bit more
Rex.
fucking annoyed about that now.
Rex,
Yes,
you're
love.
Maori. You're Maori. So
Speak up.
it's not as if you and your family, your own parents, have not experienced lockdown, being locked up, forced medications. So you have
Yeah.
so much to teach us, to tell us. We're the ones that should be learning
Yeah.
from you and your
But
family's
it's-
experience.
Colonizing, you know, and I respect anyone who wants to get vaccinated. You know, if that's your choice, I'm totally fine with people getting vaccinated. And if you don't want to get vaccinated, that's fine too, for me. Whereas I don't find that's a two-way street. And what are they going to do when we're all locked down, all the naughty people and all the naysayers that won't get a max? So we're all locked down. And what's going to happen when all these people keep getting COVID? Who the fuck are they going to blame now? You know, they haven't done their maths. And Ministry of Education, you're not allowed on site unless you've had the vaccine. But if you're a parent, you don't. It's only their employees. It's a fucking Kafka-esque farce. You know, and Dan Andrews over in Victoria, fucking despot Dan, my God, the lockdowns and that and I never thought in my life, girls, sorry, girls, you beautiful women, but I never thought, girls, that there would be something more important or something more pressing to me than the trans rights debate and the erasure of women and the sterilising of children.
I'm so glad you've said that. I've had this conversation so many times. We have been forcibly separated from our societies and our communities and locked up in our homes. We cannot, it is such a fundamental right to come together to protest. It's what so many workers, the suffragettes before us, so many of our ancestors have fought for, and that was taken away. How can we possibly be talking about things like access to public spaces, like changing rooms and stuff, if we cannot go out in public to changing rooms, if we're locked up and all those facilities are closed? When people are talking about all the legislation in the kids' schools and all the policies in the kids' schools, well, your kids weren't going to school. In the UK, they have had disrupted education for 2 years. If your kids aren't going to school, then I'm sorry, but like that is a more pressing issue.
At the moment, it is, but something interesting. What's happened in Australia is a lot of these things got enacted by stealth in lockdown. So now, and when they are coming out of lockdown, they're finding the new reality is there's a fried chickenisha in my toilet. You know, there's a linebacker in linen who says he's a stunning and brave lady.
Yeah,
you know, and it's happened by stealth. I'm just doing some muka at the moment. I'm utilising my time. I'm getting strips of harakiki and making the fibre out of it. So just keep my hands
this is
busy.
for weaving. Rex,
It
that's
is.
for
It's
weaving.
for weaving. Yes.
I
And
think
that's very important to your culture, isn't it? That's a part of our culture.
Yeah, it is. And look, here we are. There's one.
Oh, that's beautiful.
oh wow.
That's
absolutely
a
lovely.
kiki that I made. So yeah, there's two types, that and clothing. But the weaving, lucky I learned and was able to have that for myself in lockdown. I was able to make the muka and carry on. But I tell you, we're up against it. Really is up against it, and how we can get everyone together. It's that I believe that once we build up enough of a critical head of steam worldwide, everyone's just going to go, oh yeah, fuck yeah.
Well, I want to draw in that Gemma said as well about grooming, because I found that with the lockdowns, with being locked up, children especially have been so much more vulnerable to grooming. With virtual school and things like that, and parents, and it's not their fault, parents are desperately trying to work during lockdown or do all the other things that they've had to do during lockdown. They can't always supervise their child's screen time. Children have been accessing all sorts of porn. There's also just extremist grooming, and I feel as an adult we get groomed as well. You know, we're on social media all the time. It's so bad for your mental health. It's set up to be adversarial. We're being groomed to view our neighbours with suspicion. And then we're kind of being groomed with all this nonsense that men are women as well. It's just, it definitely feels like it's all connected.
Frank Zappa, he put out a song in the 70s, I think it was 1975, I'm the slime. All right, I'm a tool of the government and industry too, for I'm here to rule and regulate you. I make you think I'm delicious with the stuff that I say, but I'm vile and pernicious and you can't look away. And he goes, have you guessed? Have you guessed? Have you guessed me yet? I'm the slime oozing out of your TV set. And that was in 1975. And I know that, we haven't all had our heads explode because we all watch TV. But, comparing erotica and, say, pornography from the 1930s, those postcards, there is no comparison to a Playboy book, say, of a 14-year-old finding his dad's Playboy book in the 1960s, to the relentless chokery and degradation. We cannot consent. This fucking filmed rape bullshit. There are women being tortured, and even the young girls have assimilated this so much. Has anyone seen that meme of the girl making a joke of how she cuts herself so she bleeds while her boyfriend's fucking her? So he gets off. She goes, a lot of people are worried because they say I cut my arms while I'm having sex with my boyfriend. Ha ha, it's my legs. So there's the joke, ha ha. But do you see how we've internalized hatred so much?
Yeah, I've had some young men. So we go into school sometimes, and before we go into a school, we do like an assessment, and we talk to like the boys about their experience of the school, the girls, and we talk to them about PSHE things. And one thing that I have heard this year that's really stuck in my mind was a boy who was like just under 16, like a week under 16, saying how he finds it really weird that if him and his girlfriend are having an argument and she starts crying, he gets a hard on.
Oh yes, yes.
And girls will say things like love bruises, and they call it breath play and all this stuff. And this is it. It is absolutely grooming. And one thing that I also find worrying about the whole trans thing as well is very clearly is the children's bodies. So if we're stopping them from going through puberty and then going from child bodies, because that's what they'll be if they haven't been through puberty, to having like the cosmetic surgery on top of that, but then they're not going through puberty, so they're not having the cognitive development around risk assessing, so they're more vulnerable. What group of people is that going to appeal to? These people walking around with child bodies that aren't good at protecting themselves and that are vulnerable because they can't assess risk. Who is that going to appeal to? I mean, we all know the answer to that. And you have that. And then you also have like the DBS stuff with these people that like changing the names all the time as well. Again, it's a risk thing. I've just had to have like a DBS thing for a university thing, and what I found was really interesting as well was the male student that was sat next to me, his birth certificate and all his documents were all in the same name. Mine were in my father's name, then my grandfather's name, then my husband's name, and I had a massive pile of documents that I had to do, and he only had like 3 sheets of paper he needed to do. And it just, the mind boggles that when you look at health and safety, and when you look at safeguarding and all these things that are really important, that it's men in charge of these things. It's men making these decisions to make it easier for other men, and we know who the perpetrators are. And it just, I have such a huge problem with all of it, and I think children are being exploited again because it's big business. But I really worry, in particular, around the paedophilia stuff of these poor children that aren't being given the care that they should be given, that aren't being listened to properly, that aren't being supported properly, having these lifelong implications, and they're just going to be surrounded by predators. It really, really worries me, and I struggle to see how all these slogans about the best interest of the child, I don't see what is in the best interest of the child. Never to be able to have children have an orgasm, never to be able to do any of the, how is that what's best for the child? I really, really can't see it.
Well, see, we've got Baby Fuck Island, where Epstein operated from, and all the people, the top 15%, all visited there. They loved it. Bill Gates, the fucking lot of them, all the actors in Hollywood, blah, blah, blah. You know, I personally, and I am a radical, but you know what? If we culled that top 15% of the tree, we just need to cull the top 15%. But unfortunately,
brings us back to the vax, Rex. It brings us back to the vax with Bill Gates, because he wants us to take it, and I don't.
That's right.
You don't want to near you. Wouldn't let that man in the house.
Well, you got to forget that he did a TED talk on depopulating people off the planet via vaccines. You know,
very strange men. I do not like them. They frighten me. These men.
I think we should point out that Bill Gates doesn't run AstraZeneca, he doesn't run Pfizer, he doesn't run Moderna. There are different vaccines, different pharmaceutical companies. This is my evidence. Yeah. Also, I don't want us to get banned, but like this is my evidence-based self saying I've made jokes about Bill Gates and I find his policies very, very questionable. However, it is our government that are making the choice to do no jab, no job, which is unethical, discriminatory, illiberal, undemocratic, racist, all these things. It's the government doing it. So I'll make the jokes about Bill Gates, but I don't want us to get banned. Also, like there is a cogent evidence-based argument against all of this, and it is so easy. We get lumped in, and it's the same with the trans thing. We get lumped in with the worst violent men who do actually hate trans people. I don't hate trans people. I don't want to beat them up or anything like that. I just want to have my women-only space. But when you criticize any of the policies surrounding transgenderism, you get lumped in with the worst, like the actual abusers, and that's not us. Yeah. And similarly, there is a lot of very, very good arguments against what's happening for lockdown. But I don't want anybody to lump me in with I'll make jokes about Bill Gates, but I don't actually think he's putting chips in our brains, just to be clear.
Tell everyone not to listen to me. Don't listen to Chinzilla. He's telling us to do things. No, but also this, you know, the mandates are going to affect our activism and meeting up, and disabled women, the most vulnerable women are just got no chance whatsoever. And it's hard for them anyway. As Gemma was saying, like it's a lot of our activism is London based. And it's just going to be harder for them. So,
yes, and the money. You know, we've got nothing. We're a bunch of cheeky darkies down under. You know, like, but I've got mental health issues. I freely admit that. You know, I don't know if you've seen any of my other talks, but you know, Catholic mathematics, when 37 goes into 4. I was 4 years old because I went to school when I was 4. Because I could read and write already. I was, you know, if I hadn't have been Māori, I would have been gifted. But because I was Māori, I was just a dirty native and a cheeky bigger with an N. Because we were called bigger. My mother was called a black bitch every week of my life. I saw the races all the time, you know. And
now you're being called names again. Very
exactly. But, you know, calling me a TERF won't make, you know, men into women, and you know, but and that even Marcy Bowers and Erica Anderson have spoken with Abigail Schreier. I remember about 3 weeks ago. The New York Times didn't want to cover it. You know, they were offered that story and they went, no, it's not politically expedient. So we're up against a captive press that call us TERFs. If you look at New Zealand MSM and you go to one of the Herald or stuff and put in transgender, there's just, what is a TERF anyway? And, you know, we've pointed out that The Economist doesn't use that term. They won't allow anyone to use TERF because they just recognise it as a silencer. I think they're secretly GC and gender critical, but, you know, they won't admit it. But our press, that Radio New Zealand, state broadcaster, has got this whole Trans Voices series that you can, you know, hear all these people cry wanking about their mental illness. And, you know, like I said in my submission, my other submission to the conversion practices, why don't we fund Napoleon suits for everybody that thinks they're Napoleon Bonaparte? Give them all an elaborate costume, because that's what you're funding here is surgery, mutilating them. I personally think that a lot of those surgeons are pedophiles. Well, how else do you explain them wanting the fucking surgery mill of hundreds and hundreds of tiny little girls' vaginas to destroy? And tiny little boys, young men. You can't tell me that they're not enjoying that shit and cutting those nipples off and Exelanzic, TT Exelanzic. She is such a queen. And because she's a clinician and she breaks everything down in a really cool way and she's very mocking, you know, they'll say something of like, oh, yeah, well, they'll have to force that open again. And she'll go, suicide prevented, you know, because they use these terrible arguments. And you know what? If my kid said, if you don't let me do that, I'm going to kill myself, I'd say, there's the door, bro.
Well, that's what we say to, like, domestic abusers who threaten, if you don't come back, I'll kill myself. It's a well-known abuser tactic.
Good.
Good.
Good. Yeah, I'd say good, motherfucker. One less fucking man holding us to ransom. Oh, I'm a shocker. Good,
there's studies that show actually trans women have high rates of narcissism as well. So that you know, again, that's another.
Well, they're mentally ill. They're mentally ill dudes in dresses watching too much porn, and they can't get a girlfriend because they're fucking incels, and then they want to be the girlfriend, and it's the amount of delusion. But, you know, it's a men's rights movement, and a meme that said, you know, I know plenty of women that think men should get what they want. You know, it's not about us. It's about, you know, pleasing the men because, you know, some of our biggest, some of our the biggest supporters of this are women. Like I say, Louisa Wall, she's a lesbian. And these people, these fucking quislings, man, they are allies in the streets and TERFs in the sheets. I've told you, you're welcome to suck as many lady dicks as you want. Get them down, you love. You are welcome to date as many cockfrockers as you want. You know, nothing will make them women, though. They are cockfrockers in a dress. Fucking come and see me about it. My first death threat was, I'm going to pull your uterus out through your throat. And I said, joke's on you, bro. I had it removed in 2012. But would you like my address? Because if you want to come and talk to me, come on down. You think? You come on my land, motherfucker? Yeah. Find out what happens. Hide him on.
No messing. No messing.
You don't make me feel afraid in my own house. And my Turanga Waiwai, that's the land. That Turanga Waiwai means a place to stand. And your Turanga Waiwai is your home, your land, your ground. This is my Turanga Waiwai, mate. Yeah. You think my land will allow you to treat me like that on my own land? No, no, no. I am inviolate, like I said. And it's really sad about the trans widows who can't leave or feel they can't leave. But I can tell you, deep therapy will help you. Just like, gender identity disorder. The cure is not mutilation and surgery and chemotherapy for healthy children. You know, the cure is talk therapy, and nobody wants to do that. I've sat in the chair for fucking years and I'm still not fit for human consumption, which is great. You know, wildly antisocial. But, you know, I've done enough work in the chair to be able to function more or less. It's a terrible effort. I've only got a certain amount of nice every day, and once it runs out, it's not looking good for you. Oh, shocker. Once it's all gone, mate, it's gone. Don't bother. So, yeah.
I
You might
hope
have to cut this down with all our technical issues and things.
Well, we
Yeah.
are going to wrap it up, but chat
Yes.
to us afterwards. Please, Rex, stay. We're going to wrap up. I just want to quickly say Yes Matters has a Christmas card project. I'm a sucker for things like that. So, and you can find them on Facebook. Is that right, Gemma? I can't wait to do it. Tell us quickly about your
Wonderful.
Christmas card project for Yes Matters. Gemma.
Go on, Gemma. Oh, yeah, there you go.
The sound on my phone has gone a bit weird. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we've got a Christmas card competition. Just because we did have like a fundraiser thing organised, but they cancelled it because he said COVID, it wasn't safe to have it, and all this stuff. So they cancelled it. So we're going to have like a Christmas card competition instead. Just because we won't charge services for young people who need our help. It's that they didn't do anything wrong. Why should they have to pay for services? So yeah, our posters are a little bit. So some people have said silly, and I would agree with that. But yeah, there were like 3 age groups for so young children, sort of teenagers, and adults as well. And then they'll be printed as like the Yes Matters Christmas cards, and we'll sell them this year. But the more feminist and the sillier, the better. And we're really excited about that. Although my team have said that I'm not, like Gemma, you are not allowed to enter into the Christmas card competition because 1, we don't think anything you have to say will be appropriate. 2, it wouldn't be fair. So yeah. That would be great. And we're a radical feminist organisation, so yeah. But I want your entry, Rex. I want you a Christmas card design entry, please.
Oh, we're going to end it. That was perfect. That was so perfect. I'm going to laugh about that all night. Oh, it's so
That's
perfect.
Noel.
What a lovely chat with all of you. And thank you for joining us. Sorry. Thank you. We're going to stop the recording now. Thank you. Oh my God.